When you speak about some people, there are certain things that's flattering, but this is all reality. She's doing the work, has done the work, and I believe that one day her legacy, when it's time to meet her maker, she will be able to look back, and as the old song goes, if I can help somebody along the way, if I can help or be a friend to somebody along the way, then my living shall not be in vain. I believe that she will hear the words that all of us want to hear one day. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. You did not allow obstacles. You did not allow opposition. You did not allow any barriers to stop you, but you persevered and you won the prize. My brothers and sisters, would you please stand at in your respective places as we receive Dr. Ramona Bishop.
It was not too long ago. The room was packed. 300, probably close to 400 people at a county board meeting. There had been a barbecue to encourage people to come, to say no. Elite does not need to exist. You know, she put all the programming in Vallejo, and we'll just do what she already crafted in Vallejo. Elite doesn't need to exist. We know what to do. I remember looking at the eyes of people that had called themselves my friends. I remember trembling and asking my husband to walk side by side and not leave my side because of the fear. All we needed to add was some white robes, and we would have been right back in the 60s. But we persisted, and I tell you that there are people in this room that would not stop. There are people in this room that saw the vision just as plainly as I did. The gentleman that spoke before me, Pastor Danny Jefferson, give him a hand clap. If it's not for Danny Jefferson, there is no advocacy in Vallejo. He does not bend or break, and I appreciate him. If it weren't for this board, who Chair Jefferson will introduce later, the founding board, my former pastor, Reverend Dr. Dante R. Quick, who has flown from the Midwest to be here with us today. Give him a hand clap. If it weren't for the county board, who said you can march, you can stomp, but we know that the students of Vallejo deserve better, a powerful educational system. So I want to call them by name. Amy Sharp, will you please stand up? We need to stop with the Republican versus Democrat stuff, because this is a bad Republican system. Peggy Cohen Thompson, will you please stand up? Peggy is my mentor. She tells me when I'm going right and when I'm going wrong. Michelle Coleman, will you please stand up? An advocate and a fighter for youth, because she comes out of probation and she knows that traveled path for many of our young people. Give the county board a round of applause. Elise Minor is on her way, and when she comes, I want us to stop and acknowledge her as well. Give her a hand clap, please. Elite parents. Folks tried to tell us, these parents don't necessarily want their children to go to college, Dr. Bishop, you focus on college too much. We need to talk about janitorial work. And I'm just like, what parents are you talking about? Because the parents that I talk about want their children to do the absolute best in the world. Whatever it is that they want to do. If they want janitorial work, that's honorable work. Let's do that. But let's not prescribe the path for students just because we think that there is a certain trajectory that they must follow. So to the elite parents, please stand up so we can acknowledge you for wanting something better for your young people and persisting with us. To be an elite parent is not easy, because you're required to work. Oh, you have a complaint? Okay. Let's work together. Now I want to acknowledge the elite students that are here that are not yet seniors, because we have some superstars in this room. If you are an elite student, I want you to walk all the way up here and stand in front of me in a line. All of you. And let me do something that many CEOs cannot do. I'm going to call them by name. We have 700. This is Michaela. Michaela sings like an angel. Michaela is a cheerleader. She's a budding basketball player. We're trying to get her to run track, and she is working on her grades. Give it up for Michaela. This is Gigi. Her grandfather is the pastor of this church. Her grandfather allowed us to meet here when Elite was not yet formed. Her grandfather is Anthony Gilmore. Her mother is Miss Beautiful Monique. She's standing right there. She is our Booster Club president. Gigi has a husband. Did everybody know that? I wasn't supposed to say anything? No! I'm sorry. Gigi is brilliant. She is a leader in our 8th grade class. She's a cheerleader, and I don't even know what else is going to happen. She is absolutely a star. Give it up for Cheech. Her aunt Tasha is on our board, and her husband Cornell is in the back. This is one of our superstars. She is academically gifted. She has straight A's all the time. She is working not one, but 2 jobs right now. She is a cheerleader. She plays basketball, softball, and softball. We are so proud of you. Keep it going. You understand? All right. Another superstar. For some reason in my nerves, names are not coming, but I know them all, believe me. Brilliant. This is Onia. Everybody knows Onia, and Onia knows I know her name. Just personality plus, gifted, cheerleader, played basketball for the first time this year. I called her Shaquille O'Neal. She'll turn to that basket and try to knock it out. And amazing. We love you, Onia. Good work. This is Savannah. I call her Valley Girl. She really is a Valley Girl. When she talks to you, you'll find out what I mean. She's a cheerleader. She is academically gifted. Her mother brought her from Benicia. I'm going to say that again. Yes. Her mother brought her from Benicia. I'm going to say that one more time. Her mother brought her from Benicia. Savannah fought it. Now she loves it, and she is one of my stars. Right, Savannah? We're playing, and she's a volleyball, gifted in volleyball, and tried basketball this year. Everybody say Big E. Listen, Big E is a scholar. He always has straight A's. Did you hear what I said? He asked to be here today. We had to say yes, right? He plays tiddlywinks. No. Football. Basketball. He's a shooter. Is that it? Baseball. Been playing baseball since he was very young. And he started with the shot put this year, right? Okay. Do I know? Thank you, Biggie. It's my Tasia. This is Tanea. Her sister is Tasia. She's graduating. She is in the debutante ball this year, so buy ads. Mom is amazing and texts me all the time about her babies. And so we appreciate her. And she is a scholar, and she's a cheerleader, and she has tried all sports. I don't know where she's going to land this year. What are we doing this year? Just cheer? Cheer, volleyball, softball. Yes, ma'am, you did softball this year, too. This is Dioka. Stand up here with me, sir, so people can see you. Instead of going out to play, Dioka likes to come to my office. And he just works on his computer and just does his thing. He's in the 5th grade, but he's doing 7th grade mathematics right now. He was given some assignments that were supposed to take him months. He finished them in a weekend. And he ended up being one of our mathletes this year, one of our first place winners in mathletes. Good work, sir. Oh, last but not least, this is Lee Mack. His girlfriend is Onia. I'm telling all the business, okay? Lee Mack's mom was one of the founding families. So she advocated before the school ever happened. Lee Mack has been with us since day one. Next year he'll be in 11th grade, 12th grade. He is a scholar, he is an athlete. The boy can do anything, anything. He started out saying he didn't want to play football. Now he's a football star. He is our go-to football player, basketball, baseball, track, anything he can do. He's also one of the absolute sweetest scholars we have. He is so wonderful. When any other student walks by without speaking, Lee Mack speaks all the time. Powerful young man. His father, Marco, teaches for us. His stepfather, Marco, teaches for us. And he is just amazing. What can I say about Lee Mack? Thank you. You guys can have a seat. I had to do that because there are schools across this nation where students go without their name being called. There are schools across this nation where there are adults getting checks that have no idea as to what their trajectory or their dreams are. There are schools across this nation where those young people will be on a pipeline to something that we don't even want to talk about. So that was my introduction. I'm not going to say much more today except to introduce your graduates for this year. They're going to get a chance to share with you later on today, but I want to call them by name as well. Marco, will you please stand? Congratulations, Marco. Marco's going to introduce himself to you later on. Nathan is not here. Nathan is an online student. He had a final today, but he is our valedictorian, so give it up for Nathan in his absence. Sanai is not here. Simone McKern, give it up for her, stand up. That's my baby, and she is my executive assistant, Alicia McKern's daughter. Gabriela Rodriguez, give it up. Just all I can say is watch out for Gabriela. You've seen her online, so she needs no introduction. Requan Sandifer is not here. Manan Shaw, give it up for Manan. A superstar, he will introduce himself to you later on. George Valdez, stand up. A powerhouse, give it up for him. And lastly, Tasia Ward, give it up for her. Tasia was a debutante this year and is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I introduced myself through my students, but that's how I always roll. I appreciate each one of you for being here today, and I know you're going to have a great time. Thanks again.
You know, all of this also is another component that makes this possible is the wonderful board that I serve with, the board of directors of Elite. And I'm going to ask that every board member, if you would please stand so that I could introduce you today. Today we have Director Lawrence Barnes. We have Director Elder Dominique Beaumonte. Of course, we have Director Ramona Bishop. We have Director Tasha Johnson. Director Ron Page was not able to be with us today, but he made his contribution and let us know why he was not able to come. Director Dr. Juanita Reynolds. We have Director Max Trujillo. And Dr. Watson, Director Watson is not able to be with us, but we have, as was already stated, a founding director, and that is Dr. Dante Quick. If you would just please. Every month, these men and women come together, and we come together to discuss the life of this institution. And every one of these directors are great people in their own right. They're concerned about your students. They're concerned about our community. And it is a pleasure to serve on the board with each and every one of them. And I just want to say thank you. Let's give another rousing applause for them. Today, we are so favored with a guest speaker today. History is being made once again, and that is in the person of Mrs. Wanda Williams. She is the first Black female county supervisor in Solano County. Yes, the first. Our first Black elected county supervisor was none other than the Honorable Osby Davis. So she stands on his shoulders, and listen, she is doing a wonderful job. She is the supervisor over District 3, and that is Fairfield, Suisun, greater Fairfield areas, and beyond. We're so pleased and honored to have her to be here today to speak to you and to address us today. Let us receive Supervisor Wanda Williams.
It's really, truly a blessing to see all of you here today. I'm so honored to get this opportunity, and I'm going to walk over here to address you and to congratulate you for making history, for being the first graduating senior class from elite public schools. Give them a round of applause. Now, although parents have already been thanked, but I want to thank the parents again because I know how hard and difficult it is to support your child while working and doing other things. So again, congratulations and thank you for your commitment to your children. Now, some of you may not know this, but Dr. Bishop actually was my professor at UC Davis. So give it up to Dr. Bishop. If she called me, I'm coming. And I'm just going to share just a little bit about the class. And actually, our class, she had an opportunity to use to do for her data, to determine the direction in which she needed to go for the charter. So I'm just thankful to be a part of that, helping you make history. But being the first African-American woman elected to the Board of Supervisors, I understand the significance of what that means. It means I'm representing a whole community, those looking to me to be a role model and example. So I don't take it lightly at all. I understand this significance. But what I understand even more importantly is the fact that as Osby Davis helped me, I have to reach back and help others. So being a history maker doesn't mean I'm up here trying to be a queen maker. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I want to do is to make sure that I am making space for others to come behind me. Anybody can be the first, okay? Anybody can be first, but will you be the last? And that's what you have to ask yourself as you prepare on your next journey in life. This is a stepping, stone, right? You're making your next step. You're transitioning into what you want to be and become. And let me tell you this, and I'm speaking to the students. Even if you change your thought or your mind, it's okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I was in school, I had decided I was going to be a business major. I had taken all my classes and I signed up for this political science class. And I'm just like, I'm just in this class and I'm just trying to get done. I'm just being honest. I'm being very transparent today. But as I started reading the Constitution and understanding, wait a minute, I'm learning about my rights. I realized at that moment in time, I was in the wrong major. And I actually stayed at Solano Community College an additional year. I had already had 2 AA degrees, but I said, nah, this is not my path. My path is being a public servant. And I'm going to just share that I don't do this in my own might. I do not. I understand who keeps me and protect me. And so I'm anchored on the Lord. I'm anchored in God. And being a history maker means I have to be courageous. I have to be brave. And so I encourage you today, be brave. Walk in those spaces, even if you is the only one there. Okay? And you see how you're sitting in that chair? If you show up to that space and there's no chair for you, you see how they made this chair right here, put this chair? If we was running out of space, you bring your chair. You make space for yourself and you stand in who you are and understand that you are called for a purpose. All of us, everyone in this room have destiny and purpose. And so the significance of being a great leader or a great entrepreneur or wherever you want to go in life, you have to remember your purpose and why you're doing it and how can you help others. And so that's what I really wanted to share about what a history maker is. I want to read this to you. It's called The Right to Lead by John Maxwell. And it's just an insert. And it says this: whatever you do, you need courage. Wherever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you you are wrong. There are always difficulties which tempt you to believe that your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to the end requires some of the same courage which a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them. And that's by Ralph Emerson. And I read that to you today to remind you there are going to be times where it feels frightening. You'll think, I don't belong here. But I want to remind you, you do. And so, again, I want to congratulate you and remember as you make your own history that you remember to reach back and help someone else to make theirs. Congratulations and thank you.
I'm going to ask the pastor of this church, this congregation, to come and just pray the blessing over our food on today. And that is in the person of Reverend Gilmore today. Let's receive him for the blessing. He's sharp on the day, isn't he?
Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Let's bow our heads. Eternal God, we thank you for this food. Thank you for those that have prepared it, those that have handled it. Pray your choicest blessings on all that are present. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'm going to ask that Director Johnson if she would be so kind to introduce her booster club. If you have any booster club members today. Yes. Would you like to come up and do that real quick? I know this is impromptu, but we appreciate all the families and staff and parents that come to assist to do what we do. I tell you, Director Johnson is a leader in her own right.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I would like to take this time and introduce the Elite Athletic Boosters Club. It has been somewhat of a challenge getting us up and running, just because we are all such busy individuals and it's a little bit of a tedious process, but we're here. And so this year we're looking forward to fundraising throughout the summer. You'll receive, lots of texts and Instagram DMs and flyers of different things that we're going to have going on just to make sure that everybody in the community knows we're here and we're attacking your wallets. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Athletic Booster Executive Board. And I am going to start with our board president, Monique Smith. Notice I said Smith. Our board secretary, Mary Dawson Russell. And she busy back there, but stop. Tiffany, our board treasurer, Tiffany McLeod. Give her a round of applause. And then we have Director Sharita Dilly. Please stand. Director Angela Kelly Santos, please stand. And last but definitely not least, Mr. Hakeem Brown, please stand. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to lots of fundraising with you all.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Elite graduates. You all look amazing today. Thank you so much for inviting me today. Inviting Assemblymember Lori Wilson, of course, but I'm able to be here today. I'm really honored to be here on her behalf. My name is Wendy, and I'm one of the field representatives for Assemblymember Lori Wilson. It is my honor to be with you all this morning on her behalf to celebrate this very special occasion, the first ever graduating class at Elite Public Schools. Assemblymember Wilson extends her congratulations to you all on accomplishing this milestone, and she wishes you the best as you begin the next chapter of your lives. I brought with me today certificates of recognition from Assemblymember Wilson and Senator Bill Dodd for each of you in honor of your graduation tomorrow. And I'll go ahead and read the certificate. On behalf of the people of the 11th Assembly District and on behalf of the people of the 3rd Senate District, our offices offer our congratulations for being the first graduating class of Elite Public Schools. Your time and dedication towards your education will open up countless doors for your bright future. We wish you the best of luck on all of your future endeavors. On behalf of the California State Legislature, we extend our best wishes for your continued success. bestowed on May 25th, 2023, here in Fairfield, California. Thank you. Marco Cano Lopez. I don't know. Okay. Tasia Ward. Jorge Valdez. Manan Munir Shah. Simone Veronica Nicole McKern. Gabriela Stephanie Rodriguez.
Seriously, Reverend Dr. Quick is a scholar. He is a mighty man of God. He is a pastor. He is the senior pastor of the First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens. I am so glad for him and happy. That church is a very vivacious church with about more than about 6,000 or 7,000 members. I watch him weekly online and see all these sea of folks and all of the things that are happening. I'm just glad for my brother and the things that he's doing. Very innovative. He was innovative here in the area. And so he has just taken it to many more levels there on the East Coast. He's indigenous to the East Coast, and I see that it's working well for him. I see him speaking there at Howard University. I see him speaking at other institutions, and I see him connecting with the movers and the shakers of this nation. And so we're so glad for him to come back to Elite to be our keynote speaker on today and to speak to these young people. The other thing that is so wonderful about him, if you ever knew his story, if you knew his educational beginnings, his foundation, and to come to where he is today, it would inspire anyone. I'll let him give you that inspiration. But throughout all the challenges he had, even as a child, growing up through the institutions or the educational systems of DC, He was able to graduate from Morehouse College, then went on to Princeton University to get his master's degree. And then, secondly, got his PhD there at UC Berkeley through the Theological Seminary there. Done some great work, has definitely obtained high educational attainment, but also a community leader. He's a wonderful father of two children, looking after those children and being a father. I always admire fathers because no matter how busy he is concerned about his two children. And so we are so glad for him to be here today. I can say much more. Just like Dr. Bishop, I haven't even scratched the surface. But we're glad to have the Reverend Dr. Dante Quick, all the way from New Jersey, to come to speak to us today. Let us receive him. Let's clap our hands. Lincoln Gardens.
Good afternoon. Is it still morning? Are we at noon yet? Okay. Well, you all have fed us, so you know what happens once you feed us. It is time for a nap. I want to say how honored I am to be here. I truly am. When Dr. Bishop asked if I would be available, I kind of laughed because often what I hope you who are graduating will understand is it's easy for people to love you when you're at the top of something. You always want to ride with people who were with you when nobody knew your name. Because those are the people who you can trust with your name when you're not in the room. Dr. Bishop and I started our walk many years ago. She came as she became the superintendent, and she was going from church to church. And I met her. She must have been on the job a month or so. She says, well, you know, I'm not here to join your church, was one of the first things she said to me. And I said, oh, okay. She says, I can't join any one church. I've got to move around to all the churches. I said, okay. I found her fascinating because I hadn't asked her to join the church, right? I didn't ask you to join. Then she came back next week. She came back a week after that. And I looked out and I said, I got her. And I'm privileged. We fought together. And there are a lot of lessons. And just to say to her, I remember one specific conversation you and I had late at night. You were still superintendent of the public schools there. And I said to you, never try to make something that's temporary permanent. So often in life, we try to make temporary things permanent. And God did not meant for her to be the superintendent of Vallejo Public Schools. That was temporary. I said to her, one day, there's something far greater for you to do. And my dear sister, you can see the manifestation of that today. So congratulations. Congratulations. I have been tasked with talking about what does it mean, Vallejo's past, present, and future? Not sure what that means. I am sure about how I entered and what it looked like while I was here. And I made a really sharp decision upon leaving to disappear. And I did it for two reasons. One, I did it because I wanted the person who would come behind me who I had not met, I still have not met. I wanted to give that person space without me being able to interfere. The second thing I wanted was the space to be able to look back over my life. 12 years I spent. And so in just a few minutes, I'll give you the lessons I learned in short phrases, because I think these are lessons you'll learn in life. First, you've always given a decision between being a pigeon and an eagle. Pigeons will never understand the height that eagles fly. But being an eagle is lonely. And if you need the validation of other people, you'll never be successful in life. I am preparing to teach an ethics course at one of the seminaries in New Jersey, and I am reading a book called Nationalism and Counter-Revolutions. And the book says that when a people have been oppressed for a long time, they develop various roles. One of the roles that's developed is called the oppressed mediator. The oppressed mediator is the person that the oppressor chooses to be the voice of the oppressed community. In other words, when you are chosen by the person who is oppressing you to speak for those they are oppressing, then your agenda is never really liberation. Your agenda is self-maintenance. And one of the things I've learned is to be an eagle, you got to learn how to maintenance yourself. You can never be validated by the person who has no interest in the freedom of your community. Carol Broadfoot, my predecessor, took me to lunch. He had been retired and came back, and he gave me a couple of pieces of advice. He said, "Don't let them drive you crazy." I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Don't let them control your living." I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "It's better to be respected than to be liked." He said, "One of the first things I want you to do is to look at the school system." And he began to name these names, Willie B. Atkins. And so I took a trip to Georgia, and I was speaking in Georgia, and I made my way to Willie B. Atkins' home. And I spent an afternoon with Willie B. Atkins, and I asked him, "Tell me what your life in Vallejo was like." For hours, Willie B. Atkins told me. And what I've learned about eagles is eagles are trained to be eagles. Never allow a pigeon to teach you to fly. And there are mechanisms in our city designed to make pigeons. And one of those mechanisms during the period that I was here was the Vallejo public school system. I could not understand why people were upset about rising test scores or more attendance in classrooms. I was new to the area. I couldn't understand, why are we fighting about expulsion rates dropping? Isn't that what we should want? And I decided for myself, I'm going to a school board meeting. I want to hear what the issue was. And it quickly became clear to me that Dr. Bishop had decided to train eagles and had no tolerance for training pigeons. And along with the maintenance of oppressive systems, there is this liberation mentality. And my brothers and sisters, you can never liberate anything if you're dependent upon its maintenance. So how did we get to elite? Is an interesting story. We started by saying there's a danger to a single story. And I want you, if you have not heard this TED Talk by a beautiful African scholar, it's a TED Talk, you can Google it, The Danger of a Single Story. And what she says is, if only one person is telling you a story from one side, you are already absolutely ignorant. And what I learned when I got to Vallejo is that there was a dominant narrative that was only told by one group. It was controlled then by the Times Herald. And everybody told me, you're not going to get good press out of the paper. I said, so why do we need the paper? This is where I'll pick up the second theme. The second theme is always be in charge of your story. Create ways to tell your story, but do not ever tell your story in response to a pigeon. I do not argue with people I'm educated enough to teach. I never do it. I don't respond to rumors. Funny thing, I went to the grocery store shortly after my divorce, and someone came up to me and said, Pastor, how are your other kids doing? And I said, what other kids? And she said, well, I heard that one of the reasons you got divorced, you had 3 or 4 other children. I said, well, can you introduce me to them? And I laughed. And she says, you're not upset? I said, leading demands that you know yourself well enough that you never have to define yourself to anybody else. If you're ever a student of history, you need to read this beautiful new biography out on Martin Luther King. And we'll talk a little bit about this at the podcast. Vallejo politics was based not on ideas. Only the strong can debate ideas. Vallejo politics was based on the assassination of character. Weak people talk about you, strong people talk to you. You have to be so clear about who you are that you sleep good at night. I love for other people to talk about me because that means I dominate their thoughts. You're not doing anything if somebody doesn't like what you're doing. And so one of the first ideas we developed for me was develop a basis of independent support. When I got to Vallejo, one of the founding city fathers, I was told, you need to meet with him. And I said, okay. My assistant made a call to him, and I got a message back through one of his emissaries. He wants to know how much you want. And I said, I'm confused. How much are you asking for? And I said, I'm not asking for anything. I was going to take him to lunch and pay for it. And when I met Pastor Jefferson, one of the things I said is, the image of Black preachers is as beggars. That we come into our counterparts because we need them to give us something. And I made a decision then. I'm going to build an institution that's so independent that I don't need to take a dime from anybody. And as pastor of First Baptist Church, we passed the $1 million mark in the first 2 years I was there. What that allowed us to do was take care of our people without having to beg anybody for a dime. And for 5 years, we ran 3 of the largest youth programs in the city of Vallejo. For 5 years, we started summer camps for our kids. We took our kids to college tours. We supported all of these initiatives. We didn't have to beg anybody for anything. So there's some people you should read about. You want to become a great entrepreneur? Know who C.J. Walker is. You want to build an institution, learn who Marcus Garvey is. Nothing is new under the sun. We just are information deficient. The second thing we decided to do was, if the newspaper won't tell our story, we're going to tell our own story. So we invested at the time, which was a lot of money, about $65,000 in cameras and lights and equipment. And we began to broadcast. The third thing we decided to do was start independent institutions. I'm not a complainer. If I got to complain about your organization, then I don't need to be involved in it. I didn't complain about the NAACP. It just wasn't worth my time. And one day, all of the community leaders came to me and they said, well, we're having problems with this and we're having problems with that. I said, well, let's just start something different. And we started something called the Community Democratic Club, because we realized that if you don't like an institution, don't spend your time thinking about the institution. Start your own independent brand. My prayer for you is work for somebody for a couple of years. Get a job. But plan when you get off on building your own business. Become independent in every way you can. So that little club became the fastest Democratic club in Northern California. We began to do our own thing, and before you knew it, Bernie Sanders was coming to us, and Hillary Clinton was coming to us. How did we do that in Vallejo? Well, part of this eagle thing is to fly as an eagle. You got to let go of your ego. Ego demands that you be in charge. I pastor 6,000 people now. About 14,000 people a week watch us. I have no idea how any of that happens. I can't tell you how to cut on lights in my church. I don't have keys. I can't even get in if I want to. Part of my management style is if I got to do it, I don't need you. I'm always looking to surround myself with people who are stronger, smarter, and more talented than I am. Because if you surround yourself with people more talented than you are, they'll always make you rise to the top. We targeted people who made Vallejo a bedroom community. They were attorneys in San Francisco, and they were this, and they only came to Vallejo to sleep. But they said they did not want to get in Vallejo politics because it was too small. Not that Vallejo was too small, but they didn't want to get involved with backbiting and jealousy. That was small to them. They wanted to work on big ideas. And so this little Democratic club, before you know it, we started thinking regionally. When we looked at the police issue, we didn't just look here in Vallejo. We started talking to San Francisco and Richmond. And one night we had a forum with police chiefs from across the bay. And don't you know, NBC News came to cover us when the Times Herald wouldn't. And before you know it, our little church broadcast was being televised nationally. And before you know it, the New York Times was coming to interview me, because now we had broken the bounds of what was small. Because egos are never satisfied with what is. They're always looking to what can be. So, as I prepare to close, I want to talk to you for a moment about what it means to personally be an eagle. There's a difference between being alone and loneliness. Learn how to be alone without feeling lonely. Because when you fly as an eagle, the air gets thin. Not everybody can go to the altitude you want to go. And you'll never be able to manage anything as an eagle trying to make people happy. Only have a few friends that will be with you for the rest of your life. Learn that a true friend will talk about you good when you're not in the room. A real friend will shut down noise. I have a very good friend of mine. She is a national pastor here in the Bay Area. She and I have rolled together for 20 years. And she called me one day and she said, I heard this. And I said, okay. And she said, I had to tell the person, you don't know my friend. And I realized that Real power is present when you're absent. Pastor Jefferson makes me think, as I try to not be a pastor, of a story about a man named Paul. The Bible says that when he wiped his head with a cloth, when other people touched the cloth, they got healed, even when he wasn't there. There's another story about a man's shadow, that when they were in the shadow, they got healed just by being in his shadow. I want to suggest to you that being an eagle means casting a shadow that covers people that may never know your name. When Ramona Bishop is dead and gone, and Elite Public Schools is 75 years old, and 1,000 and thousands of kids walk across the stage, they'll never know the tears she cried because of the ugliness that was said about her in the press. They'll never know the friends she lost because she had a vision. They'll never know about the people who smiled in her face and talked behind her back. They'll never know how she persevered when other people told her to shut up and sit down. They'll never know how they tried to mock her and embarrass her at school board meetings. They'll never know, but her shadow will be over all those students. I'm challenging you today to walk with a shadow that changes things even when you're not in the room. As to the future, I am so pleased to see my dear sister sitting here. One of the things I recognized about the politics in the community is the biggest issue we have is our own mental health. I am working with the Ad Council that's doing a $60 million campaign on faith and Black mental health. I had the pleasure of getting involved in this because of my advocacy for Black mental health, and that started here in Vallejo. I began to realize how many people in our communities are functional with mental health issues, are leaders with mental health issues. Mental health issues that are cast by the specter of white supremacy and self-hate, by the trauma that comes from watching men and women get shot down that look like you. We led the largest, it may still be the largest to this day, social action in Solano County history based upon young people. A group of young people came to me and said, we're trying to make Black Lives Matter. We don't know how to. And we sat down and we talked to those young people. We did it by Zoom. And the one thing they said was, there are no adults interested in letting us lead anything. They went to the leaders. And the leaders told them, hold up. Don't rock the boat. Let us talk to people. These young people got disaffected because the people who were designed to help them move forward were showing themselves to be accommodationist. They were interested in their elected seats or being the president of their clubs. Don't rock the boat, they were told. So somehow Dr. Bishop and Reverend Jefferson and I, we ended up in this meeting, and I said, well, what do you want to do? They said, we want to march. I said, well, let's march. But what we had to do was leave the structures we created. And Bishop Harris and about 6 of us started meeting in secret. And we had to start an outside organization, and we started having secret meetings with the police chief and secret meetings with the city manager because nobody wanted to be seen talking openly to us. But they knew our cause was right. And the 6 of us realized, because nobody was on anybody else's payroll, We were all connected to institutions that paid us. We didn't need a grant from nobody. The 6 of us were willing to risk things that even in our community, people who looked like us, who said they were for you, were against us. Because an eagle can never, ever wait for someone who's a pigeon to ratify the vision. And we took this, and 5,000 to 6,000 people, Black, Latino, white, straight, gay, lined up behind 4 hearses and 4 caskets. And we marched, and we had the largest social action, not just in Solano County, but one of the largest in the Bay Area, with a 12-point political agenda. And so in a matter of 3 years, 3 presidential candidates, the New York Times, 18 different television stories were done on a little city called Vallejo. And out of that movement came an idea. If the school system doesn't love our children, let's start our own school. And if the school board won't approve it, let's go to the county. Eagles never accept no. They laugh at limits. And there are people who didn't think you could be here today. Many of us who are leaders went to that broken down building that the district said would never be anything. They gave us the worst building they had. They gave us no money to fix it up. But we got our churches. We bought paint out of our pockets. We came and we started scraping walls. I remember inspecting the gym bathroom with Dr. Bishop. Like, I got a degree from Princeton. What you want me to do in this bathroom? And tomorrow, that small group of independent churches, that small group of people that stood outside of everything, that small group of people who had one person on the city council, will stand up for you, because you are the legacy of our shadows. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now go be Eagles and do great things. Congratulations, Dr. Bishop. Congratulations to you all. Thank you very much.
I'd like the seniors to come and stand in one row in front of the podium here where the other students stood. And I know we are slightly beyond the time. Come on up. Come on up. Thank you. And they're going to have an opportunity to introduce themselves to you. I also know that Mr. George has come in. Is he still here? Bathroom. Okay. He'll be right back. When Nathan George walks in the door, we're going to acknowledge him as well. Nathan George is our valedictorian, and he's here. And he chose one school that he wanted to go to. It was CSU Maritime. And he waited, and he waited, and he waited. And Nathan George will be attending CSU Maritime. So when he comes, we will break and have him and acknowledge him. Now, I'm just going to pass the mic to these beautiful young people. You're going to get a chance to hear directly from them.
Hi, my name is Gabriela. Honestly, I'm just very honored, extremely. This is the only word that I can come to my mind. I've been going to schools. Hell, I've even been out of the district to go to another school because the system that I was living in was not working for me. And I've never been surrounded by so many passionate and well-educated people than I am today. And I'm grateful because in my life for the longest time I was never ever going to assume that I was going to make it here, standing here today and just accepting my graduation. Like, I never thought I was going to walk the stage. I never thought I was going to see this year at all, because of all the years of struggling, of bullying that and staff members from other schools and teachers who did not care for my education, all because I was too quiet and too scared to voice my opinion. I was very quieted. I was, what's the word? I was forced to be muted. I wasn't allowed to have my voice. And this school showed me that it was okay not only to have my voice, but to be proud of it. And I'm thankful for the staff here at the school, the people here who helped make Elite Public Schools what it is. And I hope that it continues to strive into not only the state will recognize it, but the whole country. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tasia, and honestly, I can agree with Eden. Um, like I never saw myself walking like the stage at all either, because when I first started it, it was rough, like being in high school and stuff. Like I had a hard time making friends, paying attention to school, and doing my schoolwork and everything. And there was a point where it was like I wanted to drop out. I didn't want to try anymore. And like my mom gave me like two options: either I'm gonna get my shit together, or I'm gonna get myself together, or she go kick me out the house. And I chose for myself to better my future that I wanted to get an education. I wanted to be something. And honestly, like it would, if it wasn't for Elite, I wouldn't be standing where I am now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm George. I didn't really have time to think of, what I'm gonna say, but at the top of my head, I am honored to be first generation graduate in elite public schools. And during the summer, I'm planning on working at Toyota as a loop technician. I already started taking classes at Solano Community College over this year, and thank you all for coming here.
Good afternoon. My name is Manan. I thank all my teachers for being so for being for helping me out and everything. And for this summer, I got selected for in Solana Community College, and I'm taking computer science classes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Marco, and I just wanted to thank Ali for changing my mindset about school and stuff. Without Ali, I wouldn't have applied for Solano College, and I want to thank you, George, personally too. He actually showed me this program, automotive technology. Is that what's called? Yeah, and this summer I will be attending there.
Hi, my name is Simone, and I really love Elite. I do is because it's the type of school that has a great atmosphere and the diversity is really good. And I want to thank all my teachers, and I want to thank Miss Franklin for always pushing me, even when I was on my phone, to stop getting off my phone. Um, yeah, and after this, I will be attending mixed institution in cosmetology, barber college, full time for my barber license.
I'm Nathan George. I'm proud and honored to go to Elite. It's been a very good experience, and I've been able to attend Solano in dual enrollment, and I'll be taking some more courses over the summer. That's all.
Now I'd like to introduce Morgan Jefferson, who does that last name sound familiar? She is one of our most amazing teachers at Elite Public Schools. So give it up for Ms. Morgan Jefferson. And we also have Mrs. Franklin. Now, Mrs. Franklin and I are just going to have a tussle because she's trying to be more popular than I am. And I have a real problem with that. However, what we want to make sure of is our students always have somebody they can turn to. And that is Mrs. Franklin on our campus. So Morgan and Joni Franklin.
Thank you. Before I begin, we have a few staff members in the house. If you are an Elite staff, can you please stand? All right. We have Miss Alicia McKern, Executive Assistant to Dr. Bishop. We have Miss Vanessa Oden, Elementary School Vice Principal. In the back, everybody knows Tam. We have Tamara Armstrong. She is, let me get it right, the Executive Assistant of Business and PR. All right. But it has been an honor to not only taught, but have learned with this senior class. Some of them came with us their 10th grade year. Some of them came 11th grade year. There have been other kids that were with them, but these are the 9 that stayed committed to the mission and the vision of Elite Public Schools. All right, my goal this year, we were senior advisors, me and Miss Franklin. My goal was just to make sure, even though they're a small class, that they still had the standard high school experience. So we started the school year off with senior sunrise at the waterfront in Vallejo, and then we went to IHOP, got all that done, and still made it to first period on time. All right, we had senior ditch day. We got approved for senior ditch day. Okay, it was legal. It was 100% legit. Okay, we went to Plank in Oakland, ate, bowled, played games, had fun. They had their first prom on a yacht out of Alameda. And literally just on Sunday, they just returned for grad night. We do thank the board for your last minute approval for these children to go to grad night. All right, we have had just so much fun this year. I just hope the senior class, I hope you guys understand the magnitude of what you have accomplished this year. At the beginning of the year, literally just in August, you guys had conversations of like, do y'all really think we can go to college? And what is it like? Till now you all stand before us. Everyone has been accepted somewhere. And some of you guys have earned substantial scholarships as well. So I hope you guys understand all that you have accomplished. I'm proud of you. You guys are going down in history as the first Eagles ever to graduate from Elite. All right, don't forget about us little people here. Come back and visit us. Please understand we are not going anywhere, and we will always be here for you all, even post-graduation. All right, y'all did it. Woo!
All right. I'm not gonna cry because I know I am. Y'all don't understand. Like, these are my babies, so I started a tradition with them, just their class. Everybody is jealous. Good. For every last one of their birthdays, since they're a small class, for every last one of their birthdays, when it came around, I threw them a birthday party. So we will get together in the class, duck off, and we will eat. So for all those parents, God bless you. Thank you. You fed us so well. Everybody was envious, but these kids up here went through a lot just to stand here. Their road was not easy. And some of the things that they have been through, whether it's personal, academic, and social, is some things that we as adults have yet to go through ourselves. So when I say I am not only honored, I am humbled, and I am grateful for you guys to stand here because your perseverance, your determination, and your heart will always guide you to the higher ground. So I am so honored for you guys. Rock on with your bad selves. Rock on.
So, Dr. Quick mentioned what the trajectory was in Vallejo City Unified School District and the work that we did to improve that. As many of you know, half of our students, when I first got there as superintendent, were graduating from high school, only 50%. By the time we finished our work, 80% of students were graduating from high school. As you may know, only 10% of our students were graduating with their A through G requirements met. By the time we finished our work, it was about 40% and on its way higher. A through G means that you took a series of coursework that qualifies you to go to a UC or CSU. You took the series of coursework and you passed it with a C or better. That's all it means. And when I got there, only 10 to 20% of our students were actually doing that in Vallejo. So one of our goals for our school was to graduate students, but not only that, graduate them with their A through G requirements met. 100% of these students have met the A through G requirements. Thank you. 4 of these students will go straight to a 4-year college or university. Tasia is our first to go to a historically black college. Nathan is, as I said, is going to CSU Maritime. And the rest of our students are going to community college. Everybody say community college. If I would have thought about that early on, I would have gone to community college too. So I want to lift up community college for those who have made that choice. Now, the staff is going to have a special presentation for our scholars.
All right. About 10 days ago, Dr. Bishop called me in her office. She wanted a special gift for the seniors. So we customized stoles. Now, y'all will be the only class that gets these because this was a lot of work, okay? However, again, you guys are history makers, so we have one stole for each student. It has inaugural class printed on it, as well as their name and class of 2023. As I call the student's name, can the parent come and join as Miss Franklin drapes each student with their stole that you guys will wear tomorrow at graduation? All right? So first we have Miss Gabriella. Next we have Miss Tasia. Tanea, come on, little sis. Girl, you got the community, okay? You are covered. Next, we have George. Miss Franklin just told me today is Mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom! And I was also told George bought his mom's ticket. Okay, George, show him how to do it, George. All right, next we have Vanan. And Marco. Next we have Simone. And last but certainly not least, we have our valedictorian, Nathan.
I want to thank the Elite Board of Directors for just existing and being and supporting my work. I appreciate it 100%. And I want to thank each of you. This will be an annual event. Our senior class next year will grow, it'll quadruple in size. And so we want to make sure that you come and you're present at all of these events. To Wanda Williams, our wonderful, wonderful supervisor, for her words, we appreciate you. And last but not least, to my friend, Dr. Quick. He could have said a lot of things about me. He didn't. Thank you for mentioning that. But to see him ascend, you know, he really thought about it. Leaving Vallejo was very difficult for him. A lot of people feel that he was just, you know, he just moved on to something bigger and better. Oh, no, 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 no. He really thought about it because he saw the greatness that Vallejo will have. He saw the vision for Vallejo. And so the fact that he is here, he flew in from New Jersey to be with us today and to help us celebrate these scholars, we all should be honored. Because again, this man is sitting. My friend, I love and I appreciate you. Last but not least, community, give yourselves a round of applause. Again, I want to say our first inaugural podcast will be tonight at 6 o'clock. Again, I want to say our promotion ceremony will be at CSU Maritime. And so we'll see you tomorrow at our graduation promotion ceremony at 5. Well, it depends. It is the TK and K babies graduate at 5:30. And the 5th, 8th, and 12th graders are together and they graduate at 7. Give it up for our executive assistant, Tam Armstrong. All of this looks like this because of her and because of Tasha Johnson. And I could just stand up here for all day. I won't. I appreciate each one of you. Dr. Quick, can you come to the stage just for a quick second? Ms. Santos, can you bring me that plaque? Dr. Quick couldn't fly in. Many of you received plaques for helping us get started last year. I would like to present to him his Power Award. Again, it is difficult to help something get started, right? To see it when it is not yet to fruition. To be there along the hard times before things begin. And he was all the time. And I love you so much. If it weren't for you, this would not exist because I'm telling you, I was broken. And you pastored me through that, and I appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.